Listen to what I'm putting down. Hey baby, I'm your handyman. Here's a song that nowadays, of course, is very much associated with James Taylor, and it's the James Taylor version that I'm going to be focusing on from his JT album from 1977, but actually this song is a lot older than that. It first appeared in a recording by the Sparks of Rhythm in 1959, and have a listen to that version, which is actually in a minor key and has a very, very different feel. It's almost not the same song, but just about is. It's an interesting listen. This version is in the key of D. And if you watched my video last week covering the Willie Nelson version of Always on My Mind, which is also in D, you'll recognise a lot of the chords. The D, obviously, A over C sharp, B minor, all that kind of stuff. We've even got the D over F sharp and the E7 over G sharp that we had in that song. So if you've watched that video, then those chords that are covered in that song should really stand you in good stead here. There are a few different sections. It's a slightly odd structure. After that little introduction we had, there's an 8-bar verse, then another 8-bar verse which is a bit different, then something I'm calling a bridge, and then another verse, and then a thing we get. Come, yeah. All that stuff, which is based on the intro. Then we have the third verse again, and then we go to the outro. Well, look, we'll pick all that up and we'll cover all that as we go. We'll look at the intro separately when we look at some picking, but for now, let's just carve out the 8 bars of that first verse. And we have 2 bars of D and 2 bars of B minor. Hey girl, gather round, B minor. Listen to what I'm putting down to G. Now, students of passing bass notes will notice that these chords are all a third apart, and we're going to put a passing chord between them. After 2 bars of D on the final beat, we're going to play A with C sharp in the bass. And I'm going to bar across the 2nd fret there. I'm using my thumb and 3 fingers on the middle 4 strings, so I'm not worried about that top string. 1 beat of that takes me down to B minor for 2 bars, and on the last beat of the 2nd bar of that, 1, 2, 3, A, that takes me down to G for a bar of A, and back to D. Okay, and the final flourish for this verse is it's a little device that we'll hear again, slightly modified in the 2nd verse, and that's just this little 3-string G shape with an open 4th string underneath it, and then A. Na, 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 na. Okay, there's one more detail to look at. In bar 6 we get Hey babe, I'm your, and then we get this climb up, B, C sharp, that's the 2nd fret and 4th fret of the 5th string, back to D, and I'm going to harmonise that with these chords as follows. There's a G over B, and again that's the middle 4 strings of the guitar. And then I'm going to slide all that up. I'm using my 2nd and 4th fingers here. Slide all that up 2 frets to play A over C sharp this way. There's a different way of playing the same chord we had a moment ago, A over C sharp this way. I'm actually only picking the 5th and 2nd strings, so it's just a nod to that little harmonisation there. So the whole of the first 8 bars then. Hey girls, gather round. Listen to what I'm putting down. Hey babe, I'm your handyman. 3, 4. Okay, and that's the first verse done. Now the 2nd verse is similar, but not quite the same. We get 1 bar now of D. I'm not the kind to use a, and we move on to B minor over the A over C sharp, but this time, just like the rhythm in the intro, we'll see that in a moment, we get a beat and a half of the A. So A over C sharp before we get on to B minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and ba-da-da-da. A beat and a half on the A over C sharp down to B minor. So that phrase there. I'm not the kind to use a pencil or rule. Now we get E minor 7. I'm fingering it just the way I did for that G over B. B, but I'm including the bottom string there. I'm handy. Now F sharp minor 7. I'm handy with love. And back to B minor. I'm no fool. On the 4th beat of that bar, A again and G. And now this stuff, the last bit, is the same really as the first verse. Fix broken hearts, I know that I truly can. Okay, and the final thing here, instead of the G over D to A that we had at the end of the first 8, we've got G over D to D. Okay, so let's have the whole of the second 8 bars. I'm not the kind to use a pencil or rule. I'm handy with love and I'm no fool. For fix broken hearts, I know that I truly can. Now the bridge begins on a G, and we're going to get to that with a single beat of A. Fix the broken hearts, I know that I truly can. If you're... and we're into the bridge. So the bridge kicks off with a bar of G, in fact 2 bars of G really. If your broken heart should need repair, and then back to our little A and the climb up to D, then I am the man to see. But there's a little detail here in the second bar of the bridge. If your broken heart should need repair, we do a beat and a half of C over G. So I'm playing my G this way without using the first finger. I've got my 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers in play here. And then you'll see this a lot in the songs that I cover. It's a kind of tick of the folk revival. We get G this way, and then the inner fingers, the 1st and 2nd fingers here, are going to play a C over G. So it's like a G with a bit of C inside of it. If your broken heart should need repair, then I am the man to see. And we get that again. How whisper sweet things you tell all your friends. Okay, so the 5th and 6th bars are the same as the 1st and 2nd bars, and now we get a new thing, and this is really the only new material I think that we've got. They'll come running to me, which I can't sing, never mind. So it's a bar of E and a bar of A to finish off that bridge section. There's a little bit more though. When we got the E, first 2 beats of that bar we're going to play E, and then I'm going to do this D over F sharp, and this ties into that Willie Nelson song I mentioned that I covered last week. That's my D over F sharp, whoops, and then I'm going to slide that shape up, including the open 4th string, to make an E7 over G sharp. Okay. They'll come running to me. And in that little bit from A, we've got another climb up, E minor 7, to that D over F sharp again. And if I play E minor 7 with my little finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, I can keep it there for the D over F sharp. And then I'm into the 3rd verse, which kicks off on a G. So let me just play the whole of the bridge. Broken heart should need repair, then I am the man to see. I whisper sweet things you tell all your friends, oh, they'll come running to me. Here is the main thing. Now the third 8 bars, I'm calling this a verse, I don't know if it really is. 2 beats of G, 2 beats of A to D, and then there's stuff that we've already seen. Here is the main thing that I want to say. A over C sharp on the last beat to B minor for 2 bars. I'm busy 24 hours a day. A to G. I fix broken hearts. I know that I truly can. Ending on an A. Okay, so that's the whole of the 3rd verse. Let's just have that. Here is the main thing that I want to say. For 1, I'm busy busy 24 hours a day. 4, fix broken hearts, I know that I truly can. And again, G over D to A, and that's verse 1, verse 2, the bridge, and verse 3, done. Now we get into this section. Come, 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 yeah, yeah, which is some kind of an interlude. And when we look at the intro, you'll see that these are the same chords with the same timing as the intro, so that'll stand us in good stead when we get to that. But essentially what happens here is it's a bar of D, a beat and a half of A, and the rest of that bar, 2.5 beats, of B minor. Come, 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 and again. Yeah. And that repeats, but come, 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 come. This time we get the last 2 bars of the bridge section, so we go to that E with all that climbing up. Oh, they'll come running. All that D over F sharp, E7 over G sharp to me. Still can't sing it. And that takes us into the third verse again as a kind of outro, and it works like this. Here is the main thing that I want to say. We've already looked at this. I'm busy 24 hours a day. I fix broken hearts, baby, I'm your handyman. And this time we go back into the but actually we just kind of play that whole thing 4 times and the song finishes there. Come, 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 come. Yeah. Well, you know what 4 times sounds like, so I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to play you the last one because it just kind of hangs on that B minor. Come, 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 come. Yeah. And that's it. That's the end of the song. Okay, so that's all the sections done. Let's get on and look at some picking. Now at this point I've covered quite a few James Taylor songs. I guess if you look at the Fire and Rain video that I did, that's probably a good example where I go into a bit more detail into the sort of things he does to achieve his sound. The way he picks his pull-offs and hammer-ons, some slides and so on, but really it's about his feel, his timing and so on. I am going to give you a couple of simple ideas for picking here, starting with this D chord, and because this uses the top 4 strings, I've got my thumb on the 4th string and my 3 picking fingers are up on the top 3 strings, first finger's on the 3rd string, second finger on the 2nd string, and of course my 3rd finger's up on the top string. And if I just play those in order, in 8s, so 1 and 2 and, then I'm going to repeat that, except rather than going to the top string again, I'm going to come back down and pick the 3rd string with my 1st finger. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The handy thing about this is that I pick that top string right before the 3rd beat, and that's the note that sticks out. That gives us a little bit of profile and creates an accent, and that gives us some gentle syncopation. Okay, and that kind of echoes what happens in the intro, where we get, in the 2nd bar, we get a beat and a half of the A before moving on to B minor. We'll cover that in a moment, but that's the same rhythmic idea. So, hey girls, gather round, listen to what I'm... And as I move away from D, I'm going to move my fingers down. On the B minor, obviously, it's going to be the middle 4 strings of the guitar. But I don't need to keep them up on the top 3 strings. I've got room now to move them down. That gives me a slightly mellower feel. When I move to G, for instance, yeah, my thumb's going to be down on the bottom string, but I'm probably going to keep my 3 fingers on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings. That makes more sense. So it's really only on the D where they're going to be up on the top 3 strings, those fingers. Here's another idea, a very similar idea. It's a bit more sedate, this one. Nothing like the syncopation because we don't have that kind of offbeat accent. That top string comes squarely on the third beat. But it does give us room to do something like this. Little hammer on, I've got my second finger on the top string and I'm just going to take that off. And if you wanted to put a hammer on in, make a feature of it on that third beat, that makes sense. I mean, you could put a hammer on the first picking idea. It just feels a bit contrived. I quite like the way that sticks out as it is. But if you wanted to put a hammer on in the top string, maybe something like that works pretty well. We might as well look at actually what happens in the intro now. We get a bar of D and then a beat and a half of A before the rest of that bar is B minor. It's just like the come, 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 yeah. It's exactly the same idea, but what happens, and if you listen to the original, the way this is mixed, by the way, if you isolate the left and right channels, you can clearly hear James Taylor's guitar in one channel and Danny Kortchmar is playing guitar in the on the other channel. It's listed as electric. I don't know why. I think he's playing an acoustic guitar, but it's quite nice. They always work beautifully together. And you can hear this. That little, and it's the open fifth string, and I'm just hammering on with my second finger onto the second fret of that fifth string, and it's on the last eighth, so it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. And then what I'm doing, I think this is what he's doing, is I'm just going to play that like that, 3 and 4, and then I'm just going to pick the middle 4 strings for the A chord and again for the B minor chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that just repeats. Okay, we get that 4 times before the verse comes in. But that really is everything, I think. I'm racking my brains. Have I missed anything? I don't think so. We've got the whole structure, we've got all the chords, we've got some picking ideas. Maybe it's time to play the song. So thanks a lot for watching and hopefully see you on the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not the kind to use a pencil or rule. I'm handy with love and I'm no fool. I fix broken hearts, I know that I truly can. If your broken heart should need repair, then I am the man to see. Oh, whisper sweet things, tell all your friends, oh, they'll come running to me. Here is the main thing that I want to say. I'm busy 24 hours a day to fix broken hearts, I know that I truly can. Oh, they'll come running to me. Here is the main thing that I want to say. I'm busy 24 hours a day to fix broken hearts, baby. I'm your hand.